Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna go through the presentation, and I want you guys to know if questions come up along the way, just don't hesitate to unmute yourself and share. This is meant to be kind of a workshop style situation. And hi there, Dr. Maria.
She's my assistant. She does most of the copywriting. And
I'm so glad. That's great. Yes. Yeah, the more the merrier. So don't hesitate to ask me questions, share what's on your mind. This is really meant to give you tangible results. So it's not just, I'm not throwing a bunch of information at you. I love it when people actually do the work as we go through the presentation, because not only do you learn that way, but then you, in the end, you really have something tangible that you can use for your business. And you can also get my feedback right here on the spot. So it's really, really productive and valuable. Okay, so let's see here. I am going to pin myself here. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share my screen with you. And if anybody has background noise or anything, just go ahead and mute yourself. So can you see a presentation called The Simple Recipe for Writing Compelling Copy? Okay, good. First, you can't see my whole desktop, just the presentation, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, great. So this is what we're going to do today. And the whole reason for doing this is to help you enjoy more profit, more time, and more impact. And to also help you really understand the fundamentals of story in a way, and to use that in a way that will get people excited to work with you. So today I'm going to walk you through, and you're going to learn how to create a strong foundation for your business with a compelling message. You're going to experience more ease in your marketing, because when your message is really clear, it becomes so much easier to talk about what you do and write about what you do in a way that ends up attracting more clients. And then the best part of all of this is that I'm going to show you how to get incredible results while actually doing less. So once you do this fundamental groundwork that we're going to do today, you'll understand how to repurpose it so you can just use it over and over again, and you don't have to start over with a blank page. And that actually, the great thing about that is it's less work for you, but it helps. It's actually way more powerful than changing up your message here and there, depending on who you're talking to. So your message gets remembered, who you are becomes really like embedded in people's brains. Just like Nike has done such a great job with their branding, because they've beat that same drum over and over and over again. Okay, so before we kind of dive into things, I'd love to hear from a few of you, just a quick answer of like, where are you currently struggling the most with writing for your own business? And just go ahead, and you don't have to raise your hand, just throw it out there. Is it website copy, a social media post, emails, bios? Yeah, fill me in, because I want to get a sense of where you're struggling.
For me, Kris?
Yeah.
It's between differentiating between my website and my actual offer, and having that different languaging between the two things.
Okay. Okay, cool. That's good to know. Okay.
I think for us right now, it's having emails that get people to take action.
Got it. Okay. Okay, cool. And what's awesome is, like, you know, Jackie and Dr. Maria, the fundamentals of storytelling work in literally all facets of your business. So you're going to use this new knowledge in both of those environments. Okay, anyone else? Ada, I think, raised her hand, or Donna, or Jenny.
Yes, for me, my difficult part is to write the newsletter mails, adding content that is not part of my program. You know what I mean? I cannot, I don't know how to deliver content in the newsletter without breaking the program.
You don't know how to deliver content. Okay, repeat that last part.
That it's not part of the program that I have structured already.
Okay. Okay, so you've got your copy dialed in for your program, but you're not sure how to deliver content outside of that. Okay, got it. Okay, Jenny, how about you?
Sorry, I'm not super familiar with Zoom. I guess it's social media right now, because that's kind of one of my focuses. I have a lot of time to spend on all of this, but it just is mentally overwhelming. And so I've spent probably, honestly, 30 minutes of my entire life on social media because it's never been my thing. And so now I'm trying to throw myself out there and brand. But I guess just, yeah, the content for my social media, really making it personal, but yet professional, and where that line is.
Perfect. Okay, we're gonna talk about that today too. Anyone else want to share? Yeah, Donna?
Yeah, I was going to say probably social media and emails, just struggling a lot with what to talk about each time. When I send an email out, my goal is at least to do it twice a week. And I'm usually doing it once. And then social media, I mean, I would like to post more than I do, but it's just figuring out what to say.
It's so hard to know. Yeah, it's so hard to know what to say. And one thing, just, keep in mind with emails, the shorter, the better. If you can, when you get an email that's really long, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to come back to this when I have more time. And then you never do.
Right.
So yeah, shorter is better, but you want it to also be strategic. So we're definitely going to cover that today. Okay, so basically what I'm getting is that every facet of your business around writing is really challenging. Okay, so the question that I like to ask is really, why is some copy so much more compelling and effective than other copy? And as digesters of information, which we all are, we know compelling copy when we come across it. Like when you're scrolling on Instagram and you're like, you pulled into a post, you know what that feels like. You know you're pulled into it. You don't know why. And then other people are posting or writing emails, or even when you visit someone's website, you want to read the website. On sometimes you want to read the website. Sometimes you go to the website and you're like, I'm out. Within 5 seconds, you're like, I'm not going to waste my time on this. But we know that we do that behavior, but we don't really know why. And I'm going to share with you the reason why. It's because good copy, compelling copy, copy that pulls you in actually is telling a story. And like culturally, we think that a story is like, once upon a time, blah, 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 this happened, or my grandpa started this business in 1910, or whatever it is. Like, that is not actually a story. I mean, technically it is a story, but that's not the story I'm talking about today. And that's not the story that I want you to be using in your marketing. But the reason that story is so powerful is because we're wired for it. Our brains are wired for it. Our nervous systems are wired for it. And it's really what has connected us as humans sitting around the fireside from the beginning of time. And what's really cool about storytelling is that our brains find stories 22 times more memorable than just facts. So when you think about like going to the last presentation you went to, they might have talked for 45 minutes, but you remember that one 3 to 5 minute story that they shared about their childhood, or a time that they had a struggle that they overcame. So it's these personal stories that we really remember. So it's important to use them in our marketing. So when a story begins with a problem, our brains find them 100% irresistible and cannot help but engage. And if you get nothing else out of today, I want you to even write this down. When a story begins with a problem, our brains find them 100% irresistible and can't help but engage. So this is really the key that unlocks the door for you around storytelling. And think about Again, just how powerful story is. Think about the last time you went to a movie, and with all the things on our to-do list, with all the, the beeping going on, text messages coming in on our phone, with all the things, with all the kids, all the friends, all the social engagements and the business engagements, we walk into a movie, the lights go down, and literally everything disappears. And we're in the thick of a culture that, like, we can barely keep our attention on something for 5 minutes. But a movie, which is a story, has the power to engage us for 90 minutes at the very least. Often now the 2 hours, like, that's the power of story. And so it's really the best way to start making changes in your business and start seeing results with what you're doing when you harness the power of it. So I am a certified StoryBrand guide. I don't know if you guys are familiar with StoryBrand, but it all started, this framework all started with a book that was written by a guy named Donald Miller. It's a great book. If you don't have it, I highly recommend you get it. It's kind of like the solopreneur's Bible in a way. And if you're like me, we're all self-employed or trying to get our businesses going. I love to listen to this one on audio because I can just do things around the house and I can be double productive while I'm listening to the book. So I highly recommend the book. But when you hear about the StoryBrand framework, it really all boils down to, it all revolves around 2 characters in a story: the hero of the story, which is your client, and the guide in the story, and that is you and your business. So this is really the formula for every story you've ever heard, every book you've ever read, every movie you've ever been to. It is literally, I mean, this is a very simplified version of it, but it's true that if you really look back at everything you've ever digested from a story standpoint, these are the common ingredients. So every story begins with a hero who has a problem, and that hero is called on a journey to solve that problem. They're on a mission. And you think of, like, all the movies that we know, about. This is how the movie begins. Okay, then about 20 minutes into the movie, that hero meets an experienced guide who gives them a plan to overcome their problem. The guide is experienced because they know how to solve this problem. But the hero's really got to take action and follow the plan in order to solve it for him or herself. And that guide guides them to success. And part of guiding them to success is about showing them what's possible, reminding them that they can overcome this problem, that they have what it takes to overcome their problem and reach that goal or that point of success that they're really trying to get to. So I really want you to kind of make a mental imprint of this infographic in your mind. And I'm happy to share this, this presentation with you as well. But this visual will really help you overcome that kind of blank page, frozen, paralyzed state that happens when you try and write copy for your own business. It's hard to know where to begin. Okay, so just to kind of reiterate here, as a guide, your goal is to help the hero find a solution to their problem, give them a plan and a clear call to action that will help them succeed. And the thing to remember here is really that it's your service that helps your client reach that happy end result that they're really dying to get to, and they're stumped. They don't know how to get to that successful state. So here are some really well-known hero guide relationships. This is, of course, dating myself a little bit, but I'm a big fan of the Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid, and his guide, Mr. Miyagi, just a brilliant guide hero relationship. And then, of course, we've got Katniss from Hunger Games and Haymitch. And then probably the most famous of all is Yoda and Luke Skywalker. So one thing to note here is really that the hero is actually the weakest character in the story. And the guide is the strongest character in the story. So we really want to remember that. Culturally, we think of the hero as like, you know, very strong, but they're actually the weakest character, excuse me, because we don't know if they're going to be able to get to the top of that mountain. And that's what keeps us engaged in the story. We've got to find out, are they going to win? Are they going to succeed? Or are they going to fail? Okay, so again, embed this in your mind. Every story introduces a hero with a problem. That hero meets a guide with a solution and gives them a plan, and then shows them what success looks like and helps them get to their goal. So every client that I work with, and I am not exaggerating when I say 100% of the clients that I work with, they're often highly educated, very capable people, very intelligent. They struggle with copy. And they always ask, like, why is this so hard? I've been working on this now for literally years, and I can't do it. I'm just stuck. And so I'm finally reaching out for help. And what I always remind people about this is that, first off, everyone struggles with writing for themselves. And the reason is, when you're too close to your own business, it's like you're trying to read the label of the bottle from inside the bottle. You can't. You're just too close to yourself, especially when you're your own business, right? Or your business is your baby. It's like you're just way too close to it to get the perspective that you need to be able to write about it. The other thing that happens a lot with business owners is that we truly have the curse of knowledge, because we're experts at what we do. We know our profession, we know our skill set inside and out. And so we've kind of forgotten, after years of doing this, we've forgotten what it's like to not know what we know. So often in social media or websites or emails, we kind of talk over our potential clients' heads because we use terminology that they don't know or they're not familiar with, because we've just forgotten that they're like at the very beginning stages of this. They're at the beginning of that mountain, at the beginning of their journey. So you really want to, it's kind of like another reminder of just keep things so simple, so clear. And that way you won't kind of start dabbling in this curse of knowledge behavior. And then this is probably the thing I see the most often, just out on the internet and in social media, is really, as business owners, we often position ourselves as the hero instead of the guide. And now you know why you really shouldn't do that. We really want to position ourselves as someone who's capable of helping other people solve a problem. And note, like, when you think back to those hero guide relationships, it doesn't mean the guide is perfect. Like Haymitch in Hunger Games, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that movie, but Haymitch was like an alcoholic. He was very flawed individual. Being a hero doesn't mean you have to appear like you're a perfect human. But you do know how to get your clients from the bottom of the mountain up to the top of the mountain. And as long as you show that you're skilled at that, you can be human in all other areas of your business. In every area of your business, you need to be human. You don't have to be perfect. So the other thing that happens when we position ourselves as the hero, as the business owner, is, here's the deal. Every story has one hero. There's only room for one hero in every story. And when you cast yourself as the hero of your own story, you literally kick anybody else out. You kick your potential client out of your story. And when you cast yourself as the guide, what you end up doing is inviting them into a narrative with you. You invite them in and they get to engage with you in your story where you're the guide and they're the hero, and they can see themselves. They can see themselves as part of the story. And this is one of the most powerful parts of storytelling in marketing. Okay, so what is the fix to all of these problems? The curse of knowledge, the being inside the bottle, and trying to read the label from inside of that, and casting yourself as the hero instead of the guide. The fix is to start with the problem your clients struggle with. And again, I touched on this at the beginning of the presentation. But again, if you don't get anything else out of this, write this down on a sticky note, put it on your computer, start with the problem your clients struggle with. And that pulls people in. Again, our brains find that totally irresistible. We can't help but engage because we can't help but want to figure out, is this problem going to be solved or not? So start with the problem, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So the other thing is just make sure you present yourself as the guide. And then we want to position your service as the recipe for your client's path to success. So remember, the guide gives the hero a plan. And part of that plan is really about your service and what you offer. And then we really want to just, as the guide, we want to really remind them, what does success look like? Let's paint a picture of what's possible for you. And that's how that's how we're leaders, how we're guides of the story. Okay, so now I want to do a little bit of work together. And this is where you guys can open up a Google Doc, open up a Word doc, or even just grab a piece of paper and start jotting down some things. Oh, I didn't even see you guys here on the chat. Okay. I'm going to include on the chat a Google Doc worksheet. This is something that I give to my clients, and it's a really helpful worksheet. I would keep it handy, but you don't have to use it today if you don't want to. We really just need a place for you to jot down your ideas, and I'm going to kind of walk you through as we go. Okay, so the first question I want you to answer, and I want you to write this down, is, bless you.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I love it. I mean, this is the beauty of Zoom, right? It's like we really are all together and in a workshop together. It's so fun. Okay, so I want you to really answer this question. What problems are your clients struggling with? And we want to do this really using their words, using words that they use a lot. So often we know what the problem is, but when you communicate with your clients or your potential clients, what are they struggling with? And I'm going to show you some examples of that right here. And then I'm going to give you guys a minute or two to kind of brain dump some ideas. So the problem for my clients, when I write down the problems that they're struggling with, I write, many business owners struggle to create a clear message on their website. So notice I'm defining who my clients are. They're business owners. And then what they struggle with. They struggle to create a clear message on their website. So brain dump like 3 ideas here on your paper. And then another example would be for a retirement planner that I worked with. His problem was many people over 50 worry that their money won't last them through retirement. And then I worked with a politician in California, and her client's problem was many Californians have a hard time trusting their political leaders. So notice, like, these are very short, they're very concise. They define, who you're working with, and then they name the problems. So I want you to write 3 different problems that your clients struggle with. Okay, you guys can keep writing, but is anyone wanting to share the problem, their favorite problem that they came up with?
I can share
Yeah.
mine. I guess kind of a feeling of apathy. They just don't enjoy anything, or they don't have any feelings. It's just this monotone. And I'm in the burnout field for dental hygienists.
Okay, so yours might be many dental hygienists feel are burnout. Let's see. Many dental hygienists feel like they're stuck in burnout, something like that. So we wanted to identify who you're talking to and then what their problem is. Okay, who else? That's really great. It's really clear. Okay, Dr. Maria.
So our niche is anti-aging, and we're using a lot of the current research to actually slow down aging or reverse bio-age. And one of the problems is that people don't want to think about getting old. So people, let's say 50 to 70, they don't want to think about getting old, and they think it's inevitable, and they don't think there's anything they can do about it.
Okay. Okay. So you might say something like, many people over 50 feel powerless when it comes to aging. Something like that. Or many people over 50 put their head in the sand when it comes to aging. Something like that. That's great. I'd love to learn more about what you do. It's really fascinating.
Thank you.
Cool work. Okay, so that gives you a couple of examples. We're just going to do a couple of examples for each of these because I want to kind of allow for enough time at the end where we kind of combine everything together. Okay, so step 2, now I really want you to answer the question, how do you solve the problem in step 1? And here are a few examples of that. So for my audience, I help them simplify their message and tell a great story. Or for the retirement planner, my proven method takes the guesswork out of retirement planning. Or for the politician, I'm a community activist on a mission to mend the relationship between citizen and politician. So an easy way to get started with this part of the story is to start with I help and then finish that sentence. Or you could say I offer, or I provide, or I make, but I help is usually the easiest way to kind of write this one. So now brain dump about 3 ideas and answer that. Start with I help and then answer that. Okay. Anyone ready to share? I'll give you a couple more minutes if you need it. We're in no rush. I'll just drink my coffee over here. Oh, here
So
we
I'll
go.
go since we know the foundation of mine. I help people discover and apply scientific methods to truly reverse aging.
I love it. Wow. It is so good. It's really, really good. Okay, and Emily has shared here, many moms feel spread thin with their children's big feelings and intense behaviors. Yeah, I might say feel spread too thin. and I might say like many moms feel spread too thin because of their children's, because of the intensity of their children's feelings and behaviors, something like that. I love this. Many moms feel overwhelmed with their children's intense. This is the problem. Okay. And then she goes into the solution. I help over. Okay. So I want to give you an example here. So Emily, we're going to use you as an example. You start with many moms feel spread too thin with their children's big feelings and intense behavior. I help them learn to control their own emotions. Let's see. I help them control their own emotions. This is the what you do. This is how you, we want to keep this part really short and concise. You help them, fundamentally, you help them learn to control their own emotions. Yeah, I might stop there for now because you've got it. We've got another phase of the process to do yet. Okay. Anybody else want to share their solution? Okay. Okay. So let's move on here. The benefit. Okay. What's a positive result that they're going to experience? So this is where Emily, like the positive result that sometimes we accidentally put the positive result in the solution phase of the process. But this is really like you painting a picture of what success looks like for them. And you want to think big. We want to be audacious. We want to show them really what's possible for their life if they solve this problem. So think about that flag on the top of the mountain. This is what we want to show them what's possible here. So for me, if I'm going to solve your problem about great copy on your website, ultimately the big benefit is so they can attract more leads and amplify profits. So for the retirement planner, it's so they can spend with confidence, knowing they're going to be okay in retirement. And then for the politicians, so trust is restored and power is returned to the people. And just these are very powerful, positive statements that often begin with so that or so they. So let's see here, we've got, so yeah, now I want you to brain dump 3 benefits or successes. Like what's the ultimate end result that they get to experience, like pie in the sky because of solving this problem. And then when anyone's ready to share it, go ahead and share. It's really helpful for the group to kind of do this out loud.
I have a question, Kris.
Sure.
So on mine, one of them could be, so you can keep living life fully. So that would be sort of a positive twist versus, and I don't know, I don't have this one right now, but so you can prevent or skip getting all the age-related diseases and aches and pains. And so, you know, sort of touching on the negative aspects. Do you have a comment on that?
Yeah, I think I would really stay positive here. So what's the opposite of preventing age-related diseases? So you can live a long, healthy life, or you can live an engaged, meaningful life, something like that. I would definitely stay positive. In the solution though, you can always weave in those negatives. So you can say, I help people prevent age-related diseases so they can live the engaged life they've always dreamed of. You know, so they can, there's all kinds of benefits to living a long life if you're feeling healthy, right? Nobody wants to grow old and feel like inhibited by their health.
Yeah, quantity is no fun without quality.
Totally. Yes, exactly. That's so true. Yeah, write that down. That's awesome. Okay, who else wants to share their benefit or their success? Let's do one more and then we'll move on.
Yes, I have a question with mine. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Um,
Hi, Emily. Yeah.
Hi. So I kind of, it's hard for me because there's a few benefits, like with my program with helping overwhelmed moms with children who have really intense emotions.
Yes.
The one benefit is they can handle it, so the moms aren't so overwhelmed. But then the other benefit is they can help their child with it. And I don't know if I should focus on one sometimes and the other times, or.
Yeah. So you can always have like 3 benefits. You can really like pump up the benefit section with 3 different benefits. So it might be, so you can step fully into your power and your kids will build resilience, or your kids can, what's something really positive about this? Like, so your kids can, you know, thrive as they grow, or like, tell me, what are some of the benefits that the kids get from this work?
That a lot of them will be able to better handle, like when they have the intense emotions, like basically they're not going to explode and be violent or hide under their bed and slam doors. Like,
Okay, well, what's the opposite of that? What's the opposite of that?
it's just so dense into academic language, like that they can regulate their own emotions.
Okay. So this is a great example. I love it. I have a 4-year-old, so I totally have to deal with
You know,
them. Yeah.
we're
So, okay, this is a great example of a success, because when a child can regulate their own emotions, that's great. That's a positive thing. It's almost like part of the solution that you provide. You help, you know, the mom be able to handle, let's see, what did we put there? You help the mom be able to handle her emotions, and you help, so you can, as the mom, you can regulate your own emotions as the child learns to regulate their emotions. That's really the solution. And then the so that is big, pie in the sky. Think like, so that, you know, you can enjoy motherhood again, or you can enjoy a deep connection with your child, or you can, you know, like, what I'm trying to say here is like, we really want to think big and think positive. So what can happen when a kid can regulate their own emotions? I just know, like, from my own experience, like my child struggles with this as well. And I think if he were to be able to regulate his own emotions and I could regulate mine, that we would feel this deep sense of connection with each other, and we'd feel this experience of partnership within the family where we could go tackle anything, really, because we're not getting thrown off. So I want you to really think big about, like, think big, but also think deep. What's their deepest heart's longing and desire around solving this problem? The problem that you solve is emotional regulation, so that what? So you can enjoy a peaceful family environment, you know. So what are the big benefits of that? Does that help?
Very much. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, anyone else want to share? Okay, so now to the fun part. Now for the big party is we combine them. So you pick your favorites from from step 1, step 2, step 3, and we put them together. And this is really where like we start to see the story coming together. Now, remember that mountain infographic, we start with a problem, and then we meet the guide. The guide talks about the solution, which is your service. And then we show them what success looks like. And so what we're doing is we're creating the shortest story known to humankind. This is like these one-liners or power pitches or whatever you want to call them. They're really just tiny bite-sized stories. And I'm going to show you how to leverage these and make them into longer stories or keep them short, and how you're going to apply this to social media and emails and all that good stuff. But first, I want you to create your own story. So this is a really fun part of the workshop where we get to really share our mini story with each other. So mine is like, if I were to write something on my social media profile, this is what I would write. If I were to write something as a basically below the footer of my, or below the signature of my email template, this is what I would write. And I use this on so many different things. I use it on my LinkedIn profile. I use it on my LinkedIn banner. I use it on my Instagram profile. So this story can repurpose itself in so many things. And then I'm going to show you kind of how to use this same formula in your social media posting and your emails. So for me, here's my whole story. Many business owners struggle to create a clear message on their website. So this is a hero with a problem. I help them simplify their message and tell a great story. Now I'm stepping in as the guide and showing the problem that I solve and how I solve this problem. And then I point them to the top of that mountain, that flag at the top of the mountain, so they can attract more business and amplify profits. So now you can kind of see how it all comes together. Again, it's that same story formula. Many people over 50 worry that their money won't last them through retirement. My proven method takes the guesswork out of retirement planning so they can spend with confidence knowing they're going to be okay. And this verbiage was taken directly from his clients, because they would get on the phone with him and be like, I just don't know if I'm going to be okay in retirement. And so we really want to tap into that language that your ideal clients use. So for the politician that I worked with, many Californians have a hard time trusting their political leaders. Emily Hibbard is a community activist on a mission to mend the relationship between citizens and politicians. So trust is restored and power is returned to the people. And what Emily did with this is she blasted it in everything on her entire campaign. So notice that like when you're not there, you can use this in a third person format, and you can tweak it and adjust it depending on who you're talking to. So if you're talking directly to your audience, you would use kind of slightly different wording than you would if like, you know, this is something that she used for her campaign. Okay, so let's go back to this. I'd love to hear out loud, because it's really powerful to speak this out loud. I'd love to hear, and it doesn't have to be polished at all. You can fumble your way through this. I mean, we were talking about this is your first pass at this. So I'd love for you to share with me your mini story here. Okay. Oh, I just saw it. Donna. Great. Awesome. Okay.
All right. This needs help. Many women in menopause struggle with eating healthier or choosing healthier options. I help them make small changes to their current diet so that they can feel more confident about their food choices.
Okay. So is their problem the food choices?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what does that problem create? What does making poor food choices create?
Well, it creates weight gain, and it also creates probably lack of energy because they're not eating the right foods that, feel work in their bodies. They're eating, processed
Okay.
food, sugar, etc.
Okay. Okay. So I think that's great. I think we really want to amplify the problem.
Okay.
The better we are and the more clearly we can articulate the problem,
Mhm.
the more effective it is going to be
Okay.
for your right audience to be pulled into this story. So I want to amplify that problem a little bit, because
Okay.
poor food choices is, you understand that that's really the problem, but
Okay.
from their perspective, they're like, I just don't feel energy. I'm gaining weight and it's stubborn and I'm not able to lose it. So I'm not saying you can't include poor food choices, but you could just say many menopausal women struggle with weight gain and lack of energy. So we're getting to the problem. Really, the problem is really bugging them the most.
Okay.
And then you could say something like, I help them make good, I help them make healthy food choices. Or you don't even have to get into that much detail. Like I help them transform the way I help them transform their relationship with food, so they can feel confident in their body and keep up with their, grandchildren, or feel competent in their body and live an engaged life, feeling their best, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're on the right track. I think we just, it's a perfect example, because I want to really, I want you guys to really double down on that problem. Again, like when you articulate it so clearly and you really get underneath what's underneath these poor food choices. It's kind of like the reverse of the success. We want to say what's underneath, or what's above, what's bigger and beyond the success, what's the big picture dream. And we also want to hone in on what's the deeper pain, or what's the deeper struggle around this. It's they're not happy with their body because of weight gain, and it's when you're menopausal, it's stubborn, right? They feel powerless around that. Okay, who else? That was awesome. Thank you, Donna. Let's do another one.
I can do mine.
Oh, you've got your hands raised. Sorry. I can't see everybody at one time. So, okay.
No,
yeah, go for it, Jenny.
Okay, so this is one that I came up with your guidance at another workshop. And so, but if there's more tweaking. So I have many dental hygienists work endless hours and end up completely burning out. My process makes you feel better in 8 weeks, so you can love your work life and find joy in your personal life again.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. I think it's got all the components. And the only thing that I would tweak is like maybe kind of put a little more oomph in that last one. I love love your, you might want to say something like, so you can fall in love with your work again. And what was the other part about the personal life?
And find joy in your personal life again.
Yeah. I might just keep it simple, like, so you can find deep meaning and joy, or you can find joy in your work and personal life. But I don't know, the personal life part, it feels like a bit of a departure. Like the problem is really around the work situation, their burnout. And I know when you repair burnout, it does affect your personal life, but I think really they're wanting to find joy in their work again. I think that that's kind of, there's probably a way to tackle both of those. It might be like, so you can find joy in your work again and more balance in your personal life, something like that. I
Okay,
want them to be
perfect.
related. And then
Mhm.
I'd also recommend you say, if you've done this before, even once before, and it's worked, I would add in proven process. I would add proven in there. Can you
So
do
I had a
that?
hard time with that. Well, I don't have any clients. I've never had a client in
Okay.
this niche before. And so that was my hang up on that, was I didn't know, like, ethically, if I could really say that my program worked when I haven't had that yet.
Right. Okay. So do it one time with one person. And if it works, then you add proven in there.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Rita and Ada. Let's start with Rita.
Okay. Many successful women find themselves longing for a network of friends who can relate. I help them find and build stronger connections so they have the rock solid friendships that they deserve.
I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Yeah. I love it. Like, I think that, so let's hear it one more time.
Yeah. And I have a couple of like slightly different options. So I might have them up. Many successful women find themselves longing for a network of friends who can relate. I help them find and build stronger connections so they have the rock solid friendships that bring them joy. My other option was like maybe replacing stronger with supportive.
Yeah. Yeah. Either one is good. I'm really wanting somewhere in here to infuse the word belonging. I think when you're feeling isolated, like, I think the problem there is when you don't have deep friendships, you kind of feel lonely or isolated. So I think that a word like isolated or lonely might amplify that problem a little bit in a positive way. And we want to articulate that so clearly, and that's going to pull people in. And then I'd want to infuse the word somehow belonging, a sense, so they can form rock solid friendships and feel the deep sense of belonging they deserve, something like that. But I think you're totally right on track.
Thank you.
Really, really good. Okay, who else? Ada?
Thank you. I wrote the whole sentence in the chat, so you can check it there.
Okay. Okay, got it. Okay. Do you want me to read it for you?
Yes, please.
Okay. Women with early menopause. I might say women in early menopause. Women with early menopause. Women in early menopause, you're not alone. With my holistic 12-week program focused in nutrition, body, and mindset, I will help you balance your hormones. And it will allow you to lose weight, decrease the symptoms, and empower you in this new phase of your life. Okay, first off, awesome job. You've got all the fundamentals here. And I think we just need to, this is a matter of like, our brains can only digest a certain amount of information at a time. So it's a big argument for keeping this so simple. Notice like these are only 3 or 4 lines each. So one thing you haven't quite tackled here is, what is the problem when they're in early menopause? What is the problem that they're experiencing?
3 of them, the hormones are not balanced. I mean, because we stop to have one type of hormone, sexual hormones, but my idea behind is that going through all the different levels of hormones in their body, because at the end, some of them doesn't allow to balance the others, you know?
So, okay. So that's the definition of menopause, right? It's just your hormones are all over the place, or even perimenopause. But
Yeah, but for me,
what is the problem why is that a problem? Why is having your hormones out of balance a problem? Like, what is the effect of that?
For me, Kris, my real problem is not the menopause itself, it's because I'm narrowing my niche to a person who have it earlier in the 30s, 35s, and these kind of things.
Okay.
And this is what I was telling Neil the other day. I have problem in making my offer and making everything, because if you read it, it can go to any type of woman. So for me, the most important thing, it's like the point on this woman is that they are not expecting any change in this age, because it's supposed to happen later, about 45.
Yes.
They are having it during the 30, 35, because they are going through cancer treatment, or they are going through a lot of pressure. So
I guess my question is, what are some of the symptoms when you're in early menopause? How would I know if I were
for me,
35?
the symptoms are the same that regular menopause. The important thing is that this is to make them normalize this, because they feel alone, they feel that
Okay.
they don't deserve this thing. That is what they differentiate that to a wide menopause niche.
Okay. So they feel alone. They feel like they're the only ones going through this at this age.
And they don't deserve this, and it's not fair because this is like a consequence from
Okay.
illness or whatever.
Okay. Okay. So you might start with many women in early menopause feel like they're going through this alone. That's really the problem. And then what we want to do when you talk about the solution is we want to talk about what we solve, not how we solve it. And you're getting in here a little bit into the how we solve it, not what you solve. So you've got with my holistic 12-week program, focused on nutrition, body, and mindset. I mean, my brain is already checking out. Because
I understood in step 2, we had to do how we were doing this. Okay. It's work,
yeah.
but not hard. Okay.
Oh, so do they want to lose weight? Is that what they want to do? Or
among other things, yes.
okay. So so many women in early menopause feel like they're going through this alone. I help them balance their hormones so they can I help them balance their hormones. This is the problem that you solve. So you can feel like yourself again.
Huele mucho.
And yeah, I mean, I think it can be this simple, which is like many women in early menopause feel like they're going through this alone. I help them balance their hormones so they can feel like themselves again. Something like that. But that's how simple. Like, notice you can follow me. You can follow what I'm saying every step of the way, because I'm not overwhelming you with information. Okay, so now I want to just quickly, it's 11 o'clock, so we want to hop off here in a couple minutes, but I really want you to understand how this translates to social media or emails or anything that you write. So notice, like, here's a typical social media post. This is done right. So how do you turn your artistic passion projects into revenue? This is a question, but it's also stating a problem. So you can create a graphic that has a question that infused in the question has the problem, or you can just state the problem in this. And then you'll notice in the description, they start with the problem. Many artists don't believe they're competent at business, or feel thinking about their art as a business might cheapen it. And then they go on to talk about the solution. But just notice, like, if I were an artist and I felt this way, I would get completely pulled on into this and I would want to read more. So this is how you get over that hump of like, where do I begin? What do I say? You brain dump all the problems that your clients are struggling with, and then you literally start every email, every post, everything, every bio with the problem that they struggle with. I can't emphasize that enough. So here's one where I just have a photo of me, but notice I always start with the problem. And I'm doing this with a question. Does your life force and creative best go to helping others while you, your business, and your family take a back seat? And then I'm showing empathy, that I understand the problem. That's what guides do. They get where you're at because they used to be there themselves. And then I move into, what I do to solve that problem. So one thing I want you to understand, and, posts can be this long. There's nothing wrong with doing a longer post or a longer email, but this formula of story with the hero in a problem, the guide with a solution, and painting that picture of success, think of it like an accordion. So right now, the accordion that we've created is this wide. You can stretch out the accordion, and you do that through amplifying the problem. You might have maybe instead of one sentence about the problem, you've got 3. And maybe you've got 3 sentences instead of 1 about the solution. And then you really go into painting that picture about success. So just notice, like, depending on what you're writing for. So emails give you a little bit more leeway to widen that accordion. And when you're in a quick conversation with someone, you want to keep that accordion small. Jackie, you've got a question? You unmute yourself.
Oh, I'd had that earlier. If you need to cut it off, I understand the end. I would just want to, I think I'm finally getting it figured out on differentiating between my website and my offer. I don't know why this has been so hard for me, but it has been. So my phrase, if you have time.
Yes, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was many homeschool parents struggle to get through the day. Homeschool Think Tank's coaching program helps you overcome your challenges and achieve your goals so that your family thrives, is what I had put. But I've also sort of worked through with Neil where maybe it's more like so that you can homeschool your kids with confidence. But I lost that phrase in the moment that I was typed that in.
Yeah.
But I'd like feedback on it.
You can play with that. I mean, I think that the solution, so the middle of your thing is so you can homeschool with is like, I help you homeschool with confidence so every member of your family can thrive, or something like that. Yeah. See what I mean?
That.
So that's
I'm typing that in.
So, and the only difference between your homepage and your offer page is that your homepage speaks to like a larger umbrella of who you serve. So you're thinking about this with them in mind, the larger audience that you serve. And your sales page allows you to be a lot more detailed and nuanced about the problem, about the how you solve it, and about the positive results. So your sales page is just a more narrow audience because you serve a wider audience, and then your course is really for a more specific group of people.
Okay.
For your program.
Yeah. And I do get that.
It's the same thing. I mean, I follow the format on my homepage. I follow this storytelling format on my homepage. And then for my program, it's really specific to solopreneurs who need their copy done in 2.5 hours flat. So they're busy, they've got, I can delve into a little bit more nuance on the sales page because it's a very more refined type of audience.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you. That one little bit of line helped a lot.
Good. I'm so glad.
I like that.
Glad. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. I think it's evolving, and I think you're pretty much there. I'd worked through a lot before I got here, but yeah, I'm still clearly spinning out on some things. Yeah, you're inside the bottle. You need perspective.
Yep.
So here's another example of a social post. And again, this translates to everything around social, emails, everything. So tired of feeling stretched too thin, not getting paid what you're worth, not making the impact you know is possible. These are all problems. And that's how I start every post. And that it gets me over that hurdle of like, where do I start? What do I say? And then it kind of organically flows, because once I've articulated that problem, I can move into the solution and painting the picture of success. And then this is just really a reminder to show you, like, once you get your story nailed down, you can repurpose it and keep beating that drum. And I mean, keep beating it until you are so sick and tired of it, you think everybody is done with it. That's where people start to remember it. So it's really funny, as business owners, we beat this drum for a year and a half, and we're like, I'm done. Okay, I'm ready to change it. And that's when it's starting to really digest in people's brains. So the key is to stick with your story. It doesn't mean you can't refine it, but just keep repeating it over and over. We've literally, as humans, we have to hear things 8 times in order for us to commit them to memory. So repetition is your key. Does somebody have a question? Oh yeah, go for it.
Well, I did, but I think I answered my own question.
Okay.
Looked at a lot of your transformations of your websites.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at the one that you have on the screen now, and it looks like you start with your solution. Like, that's kind of your statement, like what you do, rather than what their result is going to be. It's what you do.
Yeah. In your header, you really want it to be very concise and short. So you can pull different parts out of your story, and you can really kind of intuit what's going to be most powerful or what they want most. And it can be your solution, or it can be kind of for him, it was that last sentence that we did, the success. He helps heads of sales achieve double-digit growth. So that's the solution for him. So they can advance their careers, so they can meet their sales goals, so notice you can pull that middle out and use it as well. So I usually do this process, and then basically you have like and Neil talks about this a lot, like we've gone through this process with her too. And she's got this little Bible of copy that she can go to and pull from and repurpose depending on what she's doing. So she never has to reinvent the wheel.
Thank you.
And then if you are struggling with your website and you need somebody to help you get out of that bottle and bring that perspective, my work is all about applying the principles of story to your website. And I have a program that's called Copy That Sells, and we get it done together in 2.5 hours. So you do an hour of prep work, and then we meet for 90 minutes and we create a complete and total roadmap of every word that's going to be on your website. And it's not only compelling, but it will convert too. So it's a lot of fun, super efficient. And if you're interested in that, check out grow.reddoordesigns.com. All right. So
thank you, Kris.
Yeah, you're welcome. We're about 10 minutes over. If anybody has any last minute little comments, I'm happy to hear, but otherwise we'll just hop off. We're all good?
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye guys.
Thank
Thank
you
you so much. Have
Thank
a
you.
wonderful
Bye.
day.
Bye.
All right. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye guys.